there are quite a few of these cliff edge tax rates where, for example, if you're earning over 100K, you start to fall into that 60 or 71% tax trap.
Yeah.
You start to lose your child benefit at 60K.
Yeah.
What are some of these? What does it mean?
Yeah, I guess, well, the first one there, as you said, as you go over 100K, your personal allowance starts to get wiped out, and obviously your taxes rocket. But I think, we always talking about these taxes, 60%, 40%, 70%, if you include student loan, obviously. But ultimately, there's things like the hidden taxes, right? Like, I know we talk about it a lot, but like the tax-free allowance has been at 12.5 grand for years, right? Whereas the cost of items is just rocketing up. So everyone is progressively getting worse off in the UK, right? And everyone's felt the pinch. That's why all the headlines are criticizing the government. That's why people are leaving. It's become a lot harder to live a good life.
What would you do if you were in that situation? I saw Reform actually are planning to increase the tax-free personal allowance to £20,000.
Yeah, I back that.
You back
I
it?
would absolutely back that.
Yeah.
I do think that, there needs to be more done to help people keep some money in their pocket. And I know it's a old age debate, right, around, taxes to improve the country and then spending power of people. But ultimately, £12,500 tax-free is nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Let's be real. The cost of living right now is crazy.
Yeah.
So it should be 20 grand. That the level of earners, let's say, in the UK average wage, 30 grand all the way up to 50, they should be keeping more of their money in their pocket. And ultimately, it's going to help. It's going to help the UK. It's going to help the economy. People can go out and do things, spend money, etc. So I would. Would you do the same?
I think we last calculated this a couple months ago. If you adjust the tax-free personal allowance from when it last changed for inflation, it should be around 16K.
Yeah.
That's the reported numbers when it comes to inflation. So potentially 20K also works. But I don't think that would have as much of I think it has a lot of impact with voters and kind of getting people on board and they have more cash in their pocket. Will it actually lead to spending and then an increased tax take? I'm not sure, but I think they need to incentivize higher earners to want to earn more. So removing, I think, the 100K tax trap, making sure that people, if they're on 99K, and I've met a few people, right? They don't want to take an extra day's work, or they don't want to work a little bit more because they lose their childcare. They fall into that 60% tax trap. That's where there's a large amount of people that are paying into the HMRC's tax take, right?
Yeah.
Incentivizing those people to keep working and incentivizing people from abroad to come back into the UK. That might not be Reform's plans, but there's got to be that kind of element of wealthy individuals to invest in the UK and entrepreneurs to start businesses to then employ people to get the economy kind of going again.
Yeah, I agree. I think, getting entrepreneurs to start businesses is a massive one, right? You look at the UK now, it's abysmal. Like the UK stock market falling apart, can't compete with Asia, can't compete with the US, can't even compete with countries in Europe anymore.
From a starting off perspective, how easy is it to set up in the UK?
Oh, very easy to set up, very easy to have your idea, etc. But I think the problem you've got is to actually sustain business for a few years is so difficult, right? Even if you look at, taxes, national insurance, etc. Like if you're a B2C business, VAT, for example, as soon as you start to earn 90K, just eat straight into your margins, right? Yeah. So you're gonna have tax bills, national insurance bills, like costs through your ears, and you've not even made a profit yet. This is the kind of problem that the UK has, is that they hit people too early. They hit them when they're down, and companies can't get through these years and actually get into a point of making business. When you look at the US, which is, let's say, dominates the global markets in especially in tech at the moment, they really encourage it. They get huge investments. They get so many grants and loans from the government. It's seen as a really positive thing to start a business in the US. The money involved is huge in the investment market. So yeah, pros and cons. I think you can start a business quite easily in the UK, but growing a business in the UK, I think, is very difficult.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. So there's almost those incentives there to kick things off, but then I guess it means that there are also incentives to leave the UK and to move your operations elsewhere once you've got started,
Exactly.
which has no kind of benefit for the UK as a whole, because
Yeah.
then you're going to be moving your corporation tax, potentially moving employees out of the UK,
Yeah.
and actually then the UK wouldn't see the long-term benefit.
Exactly that. And you're even seeing it now, companies that have grown in the UK to a huge size, not even choose to list on the London Stock Exchange
Yeah.
because they just believe being on the London Stock Exchange will not help their company because people do not look at it favorably, it doesn't want to get invested in, and that just shows a whole image of the UK. And like you said, getting set up and kicked off, let's say the SCIS scheme, right? They have just increased it to 250K. But why is it not just like 5 million? Why not? You know, like think about how many funding rounds even we've had to go through and other companies have to raise a lot of money. If you make it like 5 million, you're giving this company a real chance of getting through because they'll keep being able to raise rounds. Yes, there's a tax relief, but ultimately it gets back to the government. And if these tax bills are coming up, etc., early, the SEIS rounds can help fund it. You know, so I think there needs to be a massive incentive and push on
And
investment.
that, as you said, that tax relief is pretty much kind of given straight back to the government.
Yeah.
Salaries, especially in tech, are quite high. You end up having to hire, and you're paying that 40-50% tax relief straight back to the government as part of income tax. So
Exactly.
it's all feeding back into the system, especially when perhaps it's useful to add some context here. With SEIS investing in an early stage company, you get 50% as like a tax credit if you're an individual. And then the company has to make sure that they are like a tech company or they qualify as a trade.
Yeah.
But potentially as well, they add additional qualification. If you raise 5 mil under SEIS, you then have to be employing in the UK. That money's coming back into the UK, but then you get potential incentives on employer national insurance or VAT, etc.
Yeah, exactly. And I think on top of that as well, like we're talking about SEIS, but also give some grants. Give some grants to companies. Like, is it really going to hurt? Like, if a company has shown that they've managed to generate some revenue, they've managed to get an idea off the ground, they're looking like they're going in the right direction, why wouldn't you give a helping hand to try and push them that bit further to say, actually, we see a potential here for the sake of UK, British economy, we want to be able to compete. Let's help you push boundaries. Let's help you go international. Let's help you set up. Let's try and give some support. But what everyone feels like in the UK, business owners, is that they're left on their own. And actually, they're seeing that they're continuously attacked by the government.
Yeah. The business owners are seen as not working people, and the tax increases are still going towards business owners, but not necessarily in the usual ways of increasing income tax, right? And I think that's where, as a business owner, you are technically an employee of your own company.
Exactly.
But you're not treated in the same way. You may not have access to the same sick pay, holiday pay, etc. You are always switched on, but you still get taxed at the same rates. You still don't. There's not as many incentives as there probably are in other economies.
No, exactly. I mean, we say it to people all the time. Like, for most people, starting a business would be a terrible idea. You'd be much better off having a good salary and essentially taking that money and enjoying your life because of all the problems that come with a business. So if you are putting your neck on the line and creating these salaries for people and creating the income, you should be given some reward, not penalized. Like a business owner's paid last. The last people that are paid is the owner of the company. And typically it takes years before you even get paid. So it's remarkable to think all of the issues you have to deal with and the government like constantly on your back when what you're doing is creating PAYE income for them.
Yeah.
POI income, which is the largest revenue
Agreed.
generated for the government.
There should be a like no interest on credit card debt as a business owner.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
might help.
exactly. So, yeah, it's a shame, but hopefully, you know, at some point the UK has to realize. I mean, what's going to happen if everyone just leaves the UK? All the business owners leave. Everyone just starts to shift across. Like, it's already happening. The
Yeah.
UK will slowly fall apart.
Not
So,
just the business owners, but there is a brain drain at the moment, right? You're getting a lot of skilled workers that are leaving.
yeah,
They don't want to be in the UK anymore. There's high taxes for them. The quality of life isn't the same. High
yeah,
cost of living, and it's impacting the business owners that can't hire skilled people, and they can't also get skilled people in.
yeah,
And then the UK is actually just going to be left with a lower tax take, even though
yeah,
tax is being increased.
yeah, exactly.